You're very correct. Why do people who love God still suffer? That's a very deep question to ask, my dear. That's a very deep question to ask. There is no one size fits all for that question. God is the Almighty, like you know. He is unquestionable. Things happen we cannot explain, but in everything we can still trust Him. He can be trusted. For instance, let's look at this Daniel chapter 3, the story of Nebuchadnezzar and the three Hebrew boys. You know the story. When you read from verse 12 down, you find out that the three Hebrew boys, they were slaves, they were captives, and they were brought into Babylon. But they had their own God. But now this is a great king who is saying, bow to my God or else you'll be thrown into the fire. Hmm. That's a test of faith, my dear. It's serious test of faith. You'll be thrown into the fire. Like, you are not going to be shot with a gun to die immediately. You are going to go through the agony of burning in the fire. Anybody's faith can move. But look at these boys who already knew their God. They did not make that decision now. It was a decision they have made long time ago by knowing who their God is. They just trusted. Remember when they said, well, whatever decision you make, we will not bow to your God. We are not careful to answer you in this matter. We will not. We will not. We are not careful to answer you in this matter. We will not bow before your God. This is our subordinates talking to a great king who has already put high, in fact, who has already told them what he's going to do. He's going to throw them into fire to burn piece by piece, to go through the agony of being burnt. We know how painful it is for hot water to touch your skin, to touch your finger, to touch any part of your body, talk less of the whole of your body being inside that fire. Well, you will ask, these are God's children. They have been standing for God. They have been unwavering in their faith, just like Daniel. They are friends. Why did God not show up at that point? They were preparing the fire. Why did God not show up? Inside their mind, they are humans, remember. They are not super gods or even Jesus himself. They are human beings. Inside their mind, they're just thinking, will God show up at this point for us? But we are not going to bow. They prepared the fire. Will God show up? They were taking them to the fire. Will God show up? Ah, will God show up? At different points in that whole situation, will God show up? But they have already made up their mind, like whether he shows up or not. We can't bring ourselves to bow down to this God. No, now we can't. They have already made a covenant with themselves and God. No matter what happens, we'd rather die than to bow to this. But the point is, God did not show up all those times. I'm sure many of us, as we are going through some tough times, we could be saying, why is God not showing up at this time? Is that not what you're asking? That why do people who still believe in God, why do they suffer? At different times, 2 years of barrenness, we God show up. 3 years of barrenness, we God 7 years of barrenness, we God show up. I've been looking for admission for a very long time. My mates have gone to, so to speak, my mates have gone to university, they've gone to school, they've gone to further education. We God show up. I don't have food on my table. I've been starving. We God show up. Ah, I am hungry. There is nothing to do. I am jobless. I am looking for work to do to take care of my family. We God show up. I have written several applications in that process. 1 year I've not been able to work. We God show up. This is the same thing. Different questions of we God show up. Why is God not showing up at this time? Our own timing. Why is God not showing up at this time? Those boys would have had that thought. But they had already made up their mind. Whether he shows up or not, we'd rather die. If I perish, I perish. Does that sound familiar? We'd rather die. But what happened? God had other plans. Remember, he's unquestionable. He had other plans. And by the time they took them into the fire, first of all, the people who took them into the fire got burnt. Remember, God could have also extended that fire to burn the whole Babylon, the whole province. God could have also used that same fire to burn the king himself or destroy everybody there. We know now God can do anything. He could have appeared in different ways, but he had other plans. He allowed his beloved 3 sons to enter that heat that burnt the people who put them in there. They entered the heat. And what happened? He showed up inside the fire. I don't know whether you understand. He showed up. He did not show up before the fire. He showed up inside the fire in his own way. He became the 4th person in the fire. They tied them. And the king was like, these people are tied. The king had to observe them by himself. He was the one that said, people come and see. These people are tied. But they are not tied inside the fire. They are supposed to be burning. But we can see that their clothes are not burnt. They are supposed to be hot. But they are not behaving like people who are hot. They are supposed to be 3. But I can see a 4th person there who looks like the son of the gods. Who looks like an angel. Who looks like a divine being. And these people are worshiping God and having communion and they are praising God and they don't even look like anything is getting to them. He showed up in the fire. What was the effect of him showing up in the fire? Even though they were still in that condition, but he made the effect null and void. Even though you are still in that joblessness, you find out that the impact of that joblessness is bringing out something better out of you, even though you are still waiting for that baby to come. But God is passing us through that experience that is making you a better person, believing more in him than the gift that he's given. Even though you are still looking for the admission, he's using that time to breed patience, to make you a better person, to build you to trust him better. My dear, God can show up in different ways. He showed up inside the fire. But what the enemy thought the fire was going to do to you was not what it was doing to them. Instead of burning them, tearing them apart, making them in anguish, making them in a state of discomfort. No, they were having communion. They were enjoying themselves inside the fire. They didn't even feel the heat from the fire. Sometimes that is how God shows up. Why? Because he has a better plan. Let's read down. When you read down, the king said, and by this I said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the supreme God, is the same king who said he was going to throw them. He said, verse 25, he said, then why do I see 4 men walking about in the fire? He asked, they are not tied up. They show no sign of being hot. And the 4th one looks like the son of the gods, like an angel. So Nebuchadnezzar went up to the door of the blazing furnace and called out, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the supreme God, come out. Now the king is the one proclaiming that he is a supreme God. That was what God wanted to achieve. Maybe if he has destroyed them, he wouldn't have won the king over. Come out. And they came out at once. All the princes, all the governors, all the lieutenants, all the officials of the king gathered to look. They were now